Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. It's a great opportunity that today we have the first day of 6th International Conference on Contemporary Issues in Business Management. We have started our first conference in 2011 and it's been almost 9 years, and it's the 6th conference that we have started now. And it's a great opportunity that we have invited our distinguished guest, Dr. Jeremy Brown. He is from Faculty of Management Studies, Soha, Oman, and he is a professor of MIS, and he was the keynote speaker in our 6th ICIBM. With him there is Dr.Wafa Khalif, and she is from TBS, and she is a professor of management accounting. And our third guest is Dr. Saqib Ilyas. He is HOD undergraduate program, UCP Business School. Just starting with your experiences, is it your first visit to Pakistan, and how you have found Pakistan regarding the people, regarding their culture? So please, Dr. Jeremy Brown, if you start.
Well, this is my first visit to Pakistan, and I've been very happy, very surprised. Surprised is probably maybe not the right word. Been very happy at the reception that we've had from people here. Everybody's been very helpful. Everybody wants to talk to us and be involved with us at the conference and in Pakistan in general. And it's been a very positive, warming experience.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, you've taken everything, but I'm very happy to be here. And I mean, first when I said to some friends and some colleagues I'm going to Pakistan for the conference, I said, what? Pakistan? Why? I said, why not? And really I appreciate it a lot. I find that I'm a kind of reconciliating with humanity here. Mm-hmm. Really, I mean it. So that's it, I think. And
specifically, if we talk about Lahore, Lahore is a culture hub. So I hope you have visited some of the places, historical places in Pakistan.
We haven't been to a lot of places yet. The one place that we have been to was Wagah border,
okay,
where we saw the closing of the gate ceremony, and that was very emotional, very emotive, and it was a fascinating experience, which I believe is quite unique, not just in Pakistan, but in the world. So it was very interesting to see. And we are planning to go and see more places today and tomorrow and Saturday as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, the same. I mean, we were together to visit this very exciting moment. And I learned a lot because it raises a lot of questions. And I think this kind of friendly confrontation, but I think we can understand a lot regarding identity features and identity development and creation. So it was very interesting.
And how about the weather?
The weather has been great so far. Yeah. I've been very happy with it. Having come from Oman, we're looking at 20 degrees is considered cold there. Mm-hmm. And here it's, when I came out of the airport, it was nice and cool, nice and a little chill in the air. And it's been really good, the weather. Mm-hmm. Very happy.
Great. So Dr. Saqib, you also, while you've been out from the country and you were there in France. So what do you think that how the culture is now coping up with? I mean to say, the French people are coming to Pakistan, and even the Pakistanis are going to the France.
Sir, thank you so much for the opportunity. I would say that Higher Education Commission plays a very important role in collaboration with different cultures. We are sending a lot of scholars to all different countries in the world, and a lot of people, they are collaborating and coming back to Pakistan. This is the fruit of all the collaborations we make over there, that people now they look at us with a different perspective. Like they said, and they shared their views, that when I was there, people, they don't know about this country, and when they come here, their idea totally changes. It's like it's a 360-degree shift actually. So it's a really positive thing for our country, and I would like to have more opportunities. Probably we can have some joint programs with different universities abroad, and we are looking forward to have collaborations for the undergraduate program at UCP as well.
And have you met Dr. Wafa before in TBS or no?
No, I haven't got a chance to meet her, both of them. It was the first interaction with them, but I've been to that culture. I've been living there for almost like 5 years, so I have a wonderful experience, and in general I would say that the European people, they're full of life and they're really positive than the rest of the world.
Right. Thank you. So my first question, that's more of the people wants to listen from you, that what difference do you see in undergraduate programs and graduate programs generally in Faculty of Management Sciences or in business schools? So normally we see that the subjects being offered with different names, but the contents are normally the same. And the people who are doing the 16 years of education and or they are coming with an 18 year of education are somewhat not differentiating it. So what difference do you see?
I mean, in between the two programs, because we basically in the undergraduate, the learning process is more general. The topics are more general, and we tend to go to some specific topics and issues in the graduate. So it's maybe sometimes it overlaps. For some concepts, but you know, when you are teaching cost, for example, cost accounting, you can teach the very basic what is a cost, how to calculate a cost from the beginning. But when you go up in the learning process, you go into some more specific and complex side of the, for example, this cost accounting or the cost itself, and you start to question it, and it's not a calculation, it's an opinion. So what does it mean? No, so that's for me the most important difference, even though we are sometimes tackling the same concepts.
Dr. Saqib, you also taught few of the MBA courses and also the head of undergraduate program. So do you think people generally in graduate programs follow the case study method?
I'll be coming to the first question that you asked from the two of our guests. The difference between undergrad and grad program, 18 years and 16 years of education, is more like in 16 years of education we are basically considering the basic outcomes, and in the 18 years we are trying to inculcate more decision making and problem solving skills of the students. That's why when we talk about graduate education, we are more focused towards case study based method. Before it wasn't that much of a thing for the business schools. They were not inculcating the skills relevant to the case based methods. But now, for example, since I've come back in since last year when I came back to Pakistan, I realized the fact that a lot of business schools, they are trying to have more cases, more application based actually, and then there are some courses which need simulation as well. So a lot of business schools, they are also focusing on simulation based programs, and they're having their own labs in which they are giving the actual situation to the students so that they can have a better understanding of how they will cope up with the world when they go out in the practical world after their master degree. So we are having a nice blend of undergrad and grad education, I think, but there are some overlapping factors. I agree with that.
Okay, so one of the major intentions of every student is to get a job or to start their career as an entrepreneur. So how these programs focus on career awareness for students? I mean to say, in the undergraduate program, what we basically develop and how we develop the skills that should be cooped up in the industry.
I find that industry actually isn't being satisfied at the moment by business education, and graduates are lacking in the skills that industry is asking for.
Yeah.
In Oman, we've recently been looking at education industry links and setting up collaborative panels where we get feedback from industry on what their requirements are in graduates, and found that we haven't been meeting that skill need, as I said. A few years ago we were talking about 21st century skills.
Yeah.
We're in the 21st century now, and a lot of these students still don't have the necessary 21st century skills.
And we have passed 20 years of the 21st century.
Past it, yes,
Yeah.
exactly, and we're still trying to get there. So students are lacking in the skills that are necessary. We talk about analytical skills, problem-solving skills, numeracy. The students are good at learning the theory behind these things, but it's the application, being able to analyse, problem-solve, and work solutions out to problems themselves. This is where I feel that students are really lacking at the moment.
So what one should do? What aspects should be added in it?
Earlier you were talking about case-based learning. This helps them with their analytical skills if they can discuss the problems between themselves, and then they can come up with solutions. But team-based learning is something that we're looking at the moment as well, trying to get students to work in teams to solve problems. If they're left to work individually, they're not going to solve the problems if they get stuck somewhere. But if they can work in a group, bounce ideas off each other, brainstorming, this will help them, hopefully.
Well, Dr. Wafa, as Dr. Brown has pointed out very rightly, that the industry is not satisfied nowadays. Industry is demanding something else. And we are somehow producing the people which are more of academic based rather than the action oriented. So what aspects one should add in it so that they can cope up with all that industry requirements?
Okay.
Other than the case studies.
Yeah, okay, so my position is a little bit different because we are not asking the right question. We won't be able to satisfy industry. Why? Because of two main problems. The first one, industry has a lot of expectations, but sometimes it has a lot of myths, and they want the students exactly as they think about to help them being more performant.
Right.
With asking questions, you can probably create the problem itself and solve the half of it beforehand. So I think that we the business school at top of probably other faculties and schools have to go through this change. That's it.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
This is a big problem at the moment, you're right. And in the UK at the moment, lots of universities are dropping their humanities courses. University of Sunderland, where I studied as an undergraduate and as a graduate student, from next year they're cutting all humanity courses and they're just teaching programs that are preparing students for the workplace. It's no longer about education for learning, it's about education for a job. And I think we're losing out on something by just doing that.
Right.
We are losing our humanity because all of these jobs, if we are preparing them to solve problems, artificial intelligence would be way more performant than human beings. And the only thing that we can probably...
I got your point.
Yeah.
So Dr. Saqib, if we see the same question in the context of Pakistan, there's a huge gap between industry and academia. So what you recommend basically for both, for industry and academia? Because one point has been raised by Dr. Jeremy and another point being raised by Dr. Wafa, and that both points are very valid. But I want to, or even the people want to know more in the Pakistani context, and you are the right person to answer it.
So actually, when I was doing my PhD research, which was on new employees, I discussed a lot of issues which the new employees are facing. All the graduates going from the business schools, when they graduate out and they go to their respective jobs, and when they finally do their internships and have their first interaction with the job market, they face a lot of problems. And the main thing is the gap between the two industries, the education industry and the practical world. What I feel like that most of the outcomes and the managerial implications of my study, they suggested that the main thing that lacks from the new employees' perspective and that the companies are looking for is the initiative. They want people who take the initiative to come up with new things and new ideas, because like everybody else said, that when we have more brains, we combine them together, we can have a very wonderful discussion, we can brainstorm, we can have new ideas and stuff going on. So the main thing that they demand is the initiative. And that's the thing that when we go into a lot of bookish knowledge, that initiative is no longer there. We want to prepare, we should be preparing brains who can take new initiatives, who can bring up new ideas, who can be really innovative in every sense in the field they're choosing. And the most important thing that I always tell to my students, the major thing that can really reduce the gap, that please go for your passions. Go for your passions. If you have a passion for any field, just go for it, and you will excel multiple times in your passion. Because what they ask me that, sir, would you guide us for which specialization we should choose? Because normally this is the demand for this, now is the demand for this thing and this thing. Yeah, that's a normal issue and a question raised by many questions who are going into their specializations. And I tell them that there's a demand for everything and there's a demand for nothing. So just realize the fact that you are a person, and the maximum thing that you can discuss this issue with your stakeholders, the stakeholders who are first of all your family, who are supporting you, and they will be dependent on you in some time. So make sure that you discuss your ideas with them and come up with an outcome. So if you want to go for higher education, it should be with their consultation. If you want to choose some career path, it should be their consultation.
One thing which you talked about is a passion. And the people who have presented the papers today in the conference, Dr.Jeremy was also there and Dr. Wafa Khalif was also there. So my question is this, that would you think that papers which is being presented today are very relevant to the industry, or the conference which we have initiated, the UCP has initiated this 6th ICIBM conference, should be more focused on some other other title, or that title is very relevant and people have presented a very good papers which should be having the impact on the industry? Is it like this, or we should make something else?
The session that I chaired this morning was HRM, which isn't my area, but I thought that the papers that were presented were very relevant to a modern society. We had papers covering things from the stigma attached to having tuberculosis in the workplace and the management attitude towards that. And I thought that was a fabulous topic. I would never have come up with that.
Also a millennium goal. It's also a millennium goal as well.
Yeah. And the range of topics was so diverse. It was fascinating. And also the different techniques that were being used. We had a mixture of quantitative and qualitative methodologies coming through. And I thought that the presenters did a really good job. And I think that the theme of the conference is really very relevant. Emerging markets are becoming more and more important globally, and we should be doing research into this area.
All right. What's your view about this?
I mean, that's amazing, the number of presentations and the wideness of the themes and topics discussed. And I think that this conference has met at least the two most important missions for a conference. One is gathering people together to network, which is very important, to listen to each other and to learn how to debate. I mean, we are not serving, I'm sorry to be insistent in this part, but we are not serving industry. Probably we are feeding industry with some new knowledge, because sometimes they don't know what would be their needs.
That's very important. Yeah.
Exactly. So and so gathering these people together, one would make them think together. Two would make them network to write together. sometimes I have the idea, I don't have the theoretical framework. Sometimes I have a theoretical framework, I don't have the field, the terrain, etc. So this is at least the two main aims that this conference has done. As I said, gathering people and creating a very nice atmosphere to be able to network and exchange and debate.
Right. So my final question, well, that's a very interesting question, and I want to know about it as well. That are we preparing our students for the life challenges, besides feeding to the industry, besides giving the knowledge to the industry? Are we preparing our students, the business students, for the life challenges to face? Dr. Jeremy.
I don't think that we are, to be honest. I still think the courses that we're teaching, some of them we've been teaching for 20 years or more. Life has changed in that 20 years.
Yeah.
We talked about my presentation at the beginning, how technology has changed in the 28 years since I started teaching. The technologies have changed, people have changed. And I think we need to reevaluate what we teach and how we teach. We shouldn't be standing up in big lecture halls in front of 400 students anymore. It should be more interactive teaching, less didactic methods. Some universities are experimenting with things like flipped classroom methods, which seemed very interesting at the time, but it takes a lot of effort, a lot of input to generate the materials, and a lot of this is now being discredited as it doesn't really work with students.
Right.
But it's getting students into groups, getting them into teams, getting them to talk about things. As you said about the conference aims, it's about networking, it's about talking, it's about presenting your work and getting opinions from other people. The same with what we teach. We should be encouraging debate, we should be encouraging communication and participation from the students. I go in so many classes today and the students just sit there and they want to be fed. And we should be moving beyond that now. So we do need to change, I feel.
Please, Dr. Wafa.
Sorry, I'll be the black sheep. Because it's not our mission to probably teach them how to live, no, or at least educating them in that purpose. But I think we have to contribute somehow. All these new methodologies, pedagogical tools, etc., are very, very interesting. But it's not about having this multitude of pedagogical tools, because the Amphi, having 400 people in front of you, it's an experience also for the people, for the autonomy, intellectual autonomy of the students, because he has to take into account his capacity of taking notes, for example, which is totally lost now because of this over assistance that we are overtaking as professors, because we are afraid that they don't get it. We need to help them to get the knowledge, whatever. But so I think that there is an in-between in trying to innovate in pedagogical thinking or tooling. And it's a lot on the professor, because we think that we can just skip the professor with the technology, for example. We have moved from knowledge-centered or professor-centered pedagogical, environment to a very student-central. And I think something in between should be better to prepare them for life as a
separate thing.
Exactly.
Okay. Dr. Saqib.
I agree with Dr. Wafa that the collaboration between the traditional ways of teaching and the modern ways, if we combine both of them, it can be a very good outcome, I guess, and it will be a bit long-term and sustainable at the same time, because we have to give them opportunities of having a discussion at the same time. We have to allow them to interact with each other, come up with their own solutions. So if we divide them into different groups and have discussions and practical aspect of it, and one more very relevant concept that we should be doing, that we should have courses that can help them go into the market and have the actual situation and feel it, and courses which allows them to have really practical and stimulated sessions all around. Because classroom environment, I feel like it's the thing that they come there and they sit there and it's all their life.
Okay.
It's like 18-20 years of education sitting in the classrooms. So we have to really make it out of the box, and if we want to make it out of the box, we have to provide that environment. So it's more like having seminars and workshops than classroom sessions.
Right.
So if we can transform it into something like that, it will be more like training sessions and more like really interactive and combining the industry and the education at the same time, and that can give a very good flavor to the education sector in business education, actually.
Right. So if we need you to sum up our 6th International Conference on Contemporary Issues in Business Management in one word, so what do you say? One word only.
Dynamic.
Okay. Dr. Wafa.
Instructive.
Saqib sir.
I would say inspiring for the moment. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for visiting University of Central Punjab. It was an opportunity from the 6th International Conference on Contemporary Issues in Business Management, and the talk was on different business issues, business education. Dr. Jeremy Brown was with us, Dr. Wafa Khalif and Dr. Saqib Ilyas. They contributed a lot in this talk, and hopefully you have enjoyed and will watch this program. Thank you very much.